Today. I like to brand things. Americans are good at promoting. One time I gave a lecture on Can God Be Blue? A study of Krishna. So I began the lecture by saying, well, it's a really easy answer to the question, can God be blue? God can be anything he wants. If there's a reason or cause why God is something, he's not God, because it means there's something dictating his existence. So can God be blue? God can be whatever he wants. It's not a question of logically figuring it out. It's a question of having it revealed what's God's nature. And then I had an audience. I said, so why the title? I said, because I'm American and we're good at advertising. And it's an attractive title to get people to come. So I'm good at branding things. So I wanted to make a kind of a new type of morning program when I come to places. So I'll inaugurate it here. I'm thinking what I'm going to call it is, and it's good, it's a Kadasi too, is Rasa Japa. Right? That's attractive. How to add taste to the holy name. And why did I name it that way? Because I just wanted everyone to come. No, but I have a reason. So what I thought is something like this is, I can do some japa seminar, like a short japa thing. It doesn't need beads or whatever it is. But adding taste to the holy name is, what is the taste of chanting? But the taste of chanting is love. That's the taste of Krishna consciousness. That's what makes it some feeling is what the taste of Krishna consciousness is. That's why Lord Chaitanya said to wear this verse around our neck, Chanada pi sanichena torora pi sahishnana amanina madanena kirtaniya. So we should chant the holy name in a humble state of mind, more feeling lower than the store on the street, more tolerant than the tree, ready to offer all respects for others, not expecting any honor for oneself. And in such a state of mind, one can chant constantly. So why, when you are humble, can you chant constantly? Well, the only thing you can do constantly is the feelings of devotion or love. Because every other activity you do not for the activity, but for the result of it. Right? If you're on the path of karma, the swaha, should I make jokes about how bored I get at the fire yogis? I feel like Viva Mangala Thakur at his father's funeral, if you know that story. But anyway, when is it going to end? You do it for the result you get for the activity, or jnana. Jnana is the path of, knowledge or austerity, but that's not the fun. The fun is you get moksha, you get liberated from the material world. But the very definition of bhakti or devotion is that you don't do it for any reason. And if you do it for any reason besides itself, it's no longer love. That's why in the Bhagavad Gita it says, Sasukam kartam avyam, that bhakti is joyfully performed. Because the activity itself is joyful. And therefore, it's causeless. There's no cause of it. There's no external cause. I am doing it for this. You're doing it out of love. And the pleasure you get at the beginning is the pleasure you get at the end, except that it increases, especially when you talk about bhakti. So that Trinada Pi means why? Why can you chant always when you're humble? Because when you're in a humble state of mind, you can have appreciation and love for what you get. When you're feeling entitled, you're proud, then no matter what you get, you don't feel love for it. And this is all you get me? What? This is all I get? I gave the example of if a child is spoiled, you can buy them everything in the world and they never feel your love. But if a child is humble, right, then even though, the father can just say a few words and they feel overwhelmed with love. So when one is humble, they can feel God's mercy. And mercy is the love you feel from above. The same word for parental affection is the same word for mercy, anugraha. It's mercy. It's uncaused. So how to feel that mercy, how to feel that appreciation. When you're humble, then you feel, wow, you feel all the gifts that are being given. Nama Shreshtam Manumapi. Nama Shreshtam means the best thing is you get the holy name. Nama Shreshtam Manumapi. Sachi Putram. You get Lord Chaitanya. Atra Sarupam Rupam Tasyagrajam. You get the 6 Goswamis. Mathura, ghost of Atim, you get Vrindavan. Radha Kunda, Radha Kunda, Radha, that's my Russian voice. Radha, I want Radha. Radha Kunda, Giri Varamaho, Govardhan Hill. These are the gifts you get, and then you appreciate them. And you feel love, and especially you feel love for the holy name when you chant. You realize this is communion with the divine. This is communion with God. And you're feeling love. So that's the taste. It's not just the syllables. It's the mood in which you chant them. And the mood in which you chant them is the mood where you actually have communion with the divine. Because God is a person. The holy name is none different than God. And a person reveals themselves in love. So if the pleasure is God, you get God when you have love. That's the essence of bhakti. I always make that understanding that perception is dependent on your attention and your attitude. If you're not attentive to something, you don't experience it. It's not just the senses, it's the mind. That's why when I speak, I try to be really engaging, sometimes tell a joke, a story. Keep your attention, otherwise I'm speaking, right? And it's like, now have you heard? If that is the case, have you heard? The sound vibration is in the air, but if your mind is not focused, and the mind is focused according to your attitude, if you have some affection, if you have some reverence, some regard, then you actually focus the mind there. So, so this taste is important, both for the feeling itself, but for the ability that gives you to actually meditate on Krishna and feel that energy. My coming attractions for tomorrow, my latest Monday morning greetings will be called Chant and Be Happy. How does it work, or something like that? How does it work? Because sometimes we do it, we don't always feel happy doing it. So it's, and the example I gave, and this was like an epiphany of seeing something in the world that enabled me to understand something philosophically about what bhakti is, and I described when I was in the gardens of Vrindavan, and at my friend's house, who's a Mali, a gardener. Madhav, you have to come. You have to come to Vrindavan. I want to take you to the gardens of Vrindavan.
If I could, I would.
What?
I'm so broke.
Keep the confidential things inside. I don't know why, no matter what I do, if Kadamba's in the audience, I have to embarrass him. I don't know which one of the relationships that's in. It must be an indirect relationship. But anyway, I saw a calf being born. And it was really an amazing experience. I've told this many, many times. I've never seen that before. And then the calf was spread eagle, and then the calf got out, and when it went for the mother's milk, and then there was this energy between them, because they have a relationship, and it was an energy of love, and that's the energy of pleasure. So I understood that that's what bhakti is when you are cognizant of your relationship with God, and you're in the presence of God in the form of the holy name, and you can concentrate on that, then you feel it. And I also made the understanding is what practice means. And this I got from the Yoga Sutras. Practice means concentration over a period of time without interruption and in the right mood. And that enables you to experience what you're focused on. And especially what you're focused on as a person, the more you do that, the more you offer your consciousness, the more the holy name reciprocates with its nature. And I gave the example of a person. You don't know a person just by seeing a person. Not just seeing a person or touching a person. You only know a person by loving a person, because what a person is their love, which is only revealed in love. So you want to know someone, you have to love, you have to understand them, because a person is a spouse, a person is a parent, a person is a friend. This is what we are. What we are is our relationships more than anything else. And another person cannot experience them unless they enter into that relationship. Then you can experience. So this is the taste of the holy name, is that when you can actually experience the holy name and offer your consciousness to the holy name, you have the right attitude towards the holy name. So I thought of this kind of seminar called Rasa Japa, where we cultivate our relationship with the holy name, and then we chant the holy name. It's kind of an idea I had. And it's following in line with Lord Chaitanya. It's following in line with Lord Chaitanya, who was trying to realize his relationship with Krishna by focusing on the holy name. That's what he did. He stayed in the Gambhira. A lot of you wonder, why does she take you also to Puri too? Why just all the times you should go to, you were so young when you went. Now
I was like
you realize so much when you go to, you fly into Mayapur.
Like grow some wings.
And then we go to Puri. Then we go back to Vrindavan. So, this focus, developing this so Lord Chaitanya in the Gambhira, in the last 12 years of his life specifically, developing his relationship with Krishna by focusing on the holy name. And how did he focus on the holy name? By his relationship with the holy name. And how did he cultivate that relationship with the holy name? He chanted, he heard the glories of the person whose name he was chanting, and he heard the glories of the love of the people for the person whose name he was chanting. So that would develop his sambandha, his relationship, and he would worship the form of the person whose name he was chanting, which was Jagannath, which is a manifestation of Krishna in his highest ecstasy, his separation for Sri Radha. So thinking like this, I thought maybe a program like that is we can have we can hear about Krishna. We can hear about Krishna and develop, and we do kirtan of Krishna. I didn't learn it in time, but I used to know that bhajan, Gauranga Karuna Koro. So you also have a bhajan. The traditional way of actually even chanting Hare Krishna is they wouldn't just begin to chant Hare Krishna. they would chant a song of devotion to Krishna. Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. And they would sing a song that would enthuse one with devotion. And then, when you chant Hare Krishna, then you would do it in a particular, that mood that you were chanting about, and that mood you were hearing about, then you would add into the chanting. And then it would have more flavor and more taste. Borijan Prabhu gives the best example of how the name and the feelings for the name are both important, not just the name, but the mood and conception of which you chant it. And he gave that such a simple example when you go to Lohi Bazaar. When you go to Lohi Bazaar, the shopping area in Vrindavan. And one of my least favorite pilgrimage places. When I go there, I try to get out as quick as possible. I just may buy anything. Not my thing to be in Lohi Bazaar. But when you walk by and a shopkeeper will want money and he'll see you, he'll call you and he'll say, Haribo Prabhu! Haribo Prabhu! And you are hearing what? Are you hearing the holy name or someone saying, I want your money? So it's not just the external, it's the feeling, the mood in which you add it. So I thought we can do that a little bit. We had some kirtan, and I'll do a little Gaur Leela, because Gaur Leela, it's Gaura Purnima on Tuesday. So we'll do some Gaur Leela, which is a more accessible form of Krishna Leela. Because what Gaur Leela is, it's the same thing in a different form. And I give the example, a person is not just one thing. They have many manifestations. They have different relationships. They manifest in different ways. And I even gave the example, I thought this also because Lord Chaitanya, basically what Lord Chaitanya is, and this it seems sequential, one thing after another, but it's actually eternal. But what Lord Chaitanya is Radha and Krishna enjoying the sweetness of their relationship and wanting to give it. And it's almost essential to want to give it, to keep it. Because intimate love has to have an open heart. So to keep that heart open, they also want to give it. And when they want to give it, then a particular intimate mood becomes prominent within their consciousness. There's basically 3 moods of complete open-hearted love. And that's what Krishna is. Krishna means there's one God, everyone's worshipping the same God, but what is Krishna? Krishna means when that one God is revealing himself most fully in love. Akila Rasa Rita Murti. He's not covering his personality because of the position he holds. When you have a position, then you have to cover the intimate, side of yourself. I said this many times, position covers personality. So for God to be full, he has to be himself and not cover himself by the fact that he's the creator and he's sitting so high and he's majestic and he's immanent, he's all powerful. He also, his fullest manifestation is his home at Krishna, where he's himself. I lost my train of thought. Who knows what I was saying before that? Can I try someone?
You were saying Gaura Lila is a more accessible representation of Krishna Lila.
Okay, that's the point I needed. So, yeah, now I remember. Thank you, Rati. So the fullest manifestation of your personality, we actually show your heart, show your inner self. One is Madhurya, the intimacy of relationships. One is Audarya, when you have magnanimity or compassion. And another one is Vipralamba, when you're in the mood of separation. So they're all there within the absolute truth, but when this magnanimity becomes more than the intimacy, or when the Madhurya becomes higher than the Aishvarya, then Radha and Krishna become Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the form changes. It's the same thing. Even ourselves, we have different moods, but we maintain this. We retain being the same person, even though we have different moods. And even I thought of another analogy, that different moods changes our form. We can be pale with fright. We can be red with rage. We can be green with envy. We can be yellow with cowardice. We can be blue with depression. But especially the red with rage. So it's so, the inner thing is the same, but the form becomes different. It becomes more accessible. And the example I give, and I think this is a really interesting example, when you go to Mayapur, then every place you go to in Mayapur has a corresponding place. You know, you're gonna have to go to Mayapur now.
Actually, I got a green light.
Yeah, you're gonna have
In
to.
negotiation, I got green light for that.
You're gonna have to go to Mayapur. That's for sure. Because
Really, I need mercy. I know. Lots of
you think on more like esoteric, deeper things than me. I'm just thinking practically, right? That there's someone that's living there that you're gonna have to see. So let's coordinate it. We're there at the same time.
I'm thinking 2022 because that's but I don't like crowds. You know what I'm saying?
No, don't go on a crowd. You come.
No.
When I go there in January, there's no one there.
Oh yeah, then January is the month for me.
When I go there, the beginning weeks of January.
Okay.
We'll figure that out. So when you go in Mayapur, have you ever been to Mayapur? You never been to
Nope.
That's not a cost, because it's only the $100 ticket from Vrindavan to Mayapur. We'll pack her up with trunks and she could sell
Trying to be in your
signs. No, you have to sit right there. Like such a target. Like the worst place for you to sit. And you notice how I put your daughter right there so I could get the... So in Mayapur, there's every place of Krishna's Leela is there, but in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela. So, for example, Rasastali. Rasastali is where Krishna had the Rasa dance. That's manifest in Mayapur as Srivasangam, the house of Srivas Thakur, because every night there for 12 hours they would have kirtans. So how is that the same thing? Because what is Rasastali, where Krishna has the Rasa dance? It's the exchange of the most intimate love, supported and enhanced by dance and music. That's what the Rasa Leela is. It's this incredible love, the most intimate love between Krishna and the gopis, that is enhanced by music and dance. So that's the essence of it. The form of it is boy and girl dancing. And what is Srivasangam? It's that same mood between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the mood of Radha, the holy name in the form of Krishna, the devotees chanting in the same mood as Lord Chaitanya, his associates who have that same mood, which is enhanced and nourished by music and dance. But the difference is in Srivasangam, it's so much more accessible, because it's not a ballroom dance with boys and girls. It's Mridanga and Kartals and Kirtan. So it somehow has a greater mercy and accessibility to enter into the same thing. So this Gaur Leela is very, very important for our spiritual life, because it gives us access into Radha and Krishna's pastimes in a way that's much more accessible. What to speak that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ajanu Lambita Bhujo Kanika Vitaro Sankirtanaika Pitaro Kamalaya Taksho, that Sankirtanaika Pitaro, Lord Chaitanya is the father of Sankirtan. So you please the father by serving the son or the daughter. So Sankirtan, he's the father of Sankirtan. So by doing this Sankirtan, not only do you have access to the mood of Vrindavan, you get access to the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which makes it easier. So Gaur Leela has that wonderful aspect. So what I'm going to do now is read a little bit from Chaitanya Bhagavat and comment and try to get that mood of Gaur Leela. I still got everybody's attention?
Yeah.
Okay. Madhavi, I'm on your side. Just on your side. Save up for a ticket. It's once in a lifetime. I'll speak to you later. Okay. Reading from the Chaitanya Bhagavat, the Madhya Leela, Chapter 1, Text 30. Sesha Prabhu Hailena Bada Asambara Krishna Bali Kandita Lagila Bahutara. Eventually the Lord lost all composure and began to cry profusely as he called out the name of Krishna. So what's happened now, and Monday I was speaking about this morning, is that up until this point, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not manifest as a devotee. The reason why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, or the reason why Krishna came in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is because Krishna wanted to experience what it was like to be a devotee. Because to love is more pleasurable than to be loved. Mother and child, the child is relishing the mother's love, but somehow the mother relishes that love more, actually. Relishes that love more. So God wanted to experience the love of his topmost devotee. To be complete, because if God is going to be supreme, he has to be the supreme enjoyer. And that indicates supremacy more than anything else, that you enjoy more. So for God to be the supreme enjoyer, he must also become his own devotee and experience love from the perspective of Radha. So he comes. And why does he come? Because he doesn't have it. God doesn't have love of God. Love of God is in the hearts of the devotees. So how is God going to get love of God? From the devotee. You can only get love of Godhead from the devotee. So Lord Chaitanya comes and he's God and he's in Navadvip and he's the most, he's the best husband and he's the best child and he's the best friend, and all this Gaur Lila is so beautiful. All this Gaur Lila is just so beautiful. And they're relating to him in such sweet ways, but he's not a devotee. And I'm not talking about devotee that you shave your head, you go to temple on Sundays, and I mean, like you really have your relationship with Krishna. You really have that. But he's not yet a devotee. Because why? So this is the Madhya Lila. So what happens is very interesting in this story. It's his 24th year. He's married. It's his second wife. His first wife died. And his father dies, and then he has to go to Gaya to perform the oblations for his father. This is the system in India. You have to go to Gaya. And then when he goes there, he meets his guru, and he gets initiation. And I described this morning, initiation is two things. Initiate means to begin, and initiation also means commitment. And the real initiation is that commitment. So Lord Chaitanya not just begins, he commits himself fully. And when you commit yourself fully, you give up separate or selfish interest. And without giving up selfish or separate interest, you can't experience love fully. So he fully surrenders to the truth, to the interest that's the interest of God, that's the interest of everyone. And he surrenders fully, and therefore he becomes flooded and is in a position to experience his relationship with Krishna. And now he begins to experience it, and he's transformed. He's completely transformed because he's becoming overwhelmed with love of Godhead. That's how you get love of Godhead. Vishuddha Sattvam Vasudeva Shabditam. Vishuddha Sattvam is the pure goodness of Krishna's internal potency, Vasudeva, and it's called Vasudeva. Why? Because Krishna's father, when Krishna appeared, he first appeared in the mind of his father. He appeared because of his father's consciousness of wanting to serve and receive. That's how God comes. And that energy comes. So now he has that energy, that Vishuddha Sattva, which is his relationship with Krishna, and it's awakened. And he's overcome with love, and now he comes back and he's transformed by that commitment. Because not only is it a different way of guiding your life, there's a different energy within your life. So he changes his life, and he feels it because he has become the receptacle for God's love, and God's love therefore is fulfilling his heart. And when you're separate interest, when you're in ego and superiority and that type of consciousness, there's no room in your heart for God's love. But when you make the commitment, what you want, I will do, and it's bhakti, and you're available. And then, so his heart now is filled with this energy of God's love. He's come back as a devotee. And now he's come back, and the devotees are in separation. They love him. He went on a journey. He's come back, and they're greeting him. And then he tells them, come, I have something confidential to tell you. And what is confidential? Confidential means that there is something, some feelings you have, some thoughts you have that cannot be shared publicly because they won't be understood and they can be exploited. And if you have anything that's not public, now think what it would mean to make that public, right? How it may be misunderstood because people wouldn't have your context, your frame of reference, your context, or how people who don't love you can exploit it. So you only give confidential things to people who really love you and want to serve you, and that's their motive. So in the world, we're very careful about that because people have their own agendas, even friends and relatives and things. So who you open your heart to. So he confidential associates, and he tells this whole story where I go to this place. I went to this place, Gaya, and I entered that, and then I heard all these sounds, and there were thousands of Brahmins reciting prayers, and they were chanting, come see the holy spot where Lord Vishnu washed his feet, because in this place, Gaya, Krishna washed his feet at this place, and the Ganges became glorious as a result of touching the Lord's lotus feet, and Lord Shiva realized the glories of that water. It was on his head, and by the influence of the water, this place has become famous because Krishna's feet were washed here. And he's telling this, and he's starting to repeat the names of these places, and tears start to flow from his eyes. And then he's with his confidential devotees, and then he loses all composure. And he begins to cry profusely. He begins to call out the name of Krishna. And then they're in this garden, and practically the garden is inundated with the tears of Krishna, of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, crying in ecstasy, and he's crying and he's calling out the name, and he's breathing very deeply. And why is he calling out the name? He's calling out the name in separation from Krishna. And then all the devotees watching this intense love. He's been transformed. It's not the person that left. And the tears were flowing in all directions. It was almost as if the Ganga was appearing. And everyone was like struck with wonder. We have never before seen him like this. because he's different, because he surrendered, and he became a receptacle for love, and it's flooding his heart, and after a short while, he regains his external consciousness and begins to speak to everyone there. And he just says, friends, return home. I will tell you where to come when we meet tomorrow. I wish to tell you more about my miseries in a solitary place. This is too public now. I can't reveal it. People will not understand what I'm feeling. And you come early to Suklabar's house. And after speaking, he bid them goodbye. Ecstatic love of Krishna was constantly visible in the body of the Lord, and he became renounced in his feelings, because that's now what he was like. He was consumed by this. And his mother, she couldn't understand what was going on. But she was just the mother, so she was just overjoyed to see him. And as the Lord wept, he cried out the name of Krishna. And his mother looked in the courtyard, and her son was crying, and the tears were like flooding the courtyard. And Krishna was crying out, Kota Krishna, where is Krishna, where is Krishna? And as he was doing this, his love increased more and more. And Mother Sachi couldn't understand anything, and she just started to pray to Krishna to protect her son. And as the Supreme Lord began to manifest himself in the mood of Radha, innumerable universes rejoiced. Devotees immediately came when they heard about the auspicious beginning of the Lord's distribution of love. All the Vaishnavas who came to see the Lord were warmly greeted by him. And he told them, you meet me tomorrow at Suklabar's house, and I will submit my sorrows to you in seclusion. Srimad Pandit was filled with joy. He was delighted to see the Lord's wonderful manifestation. So what's happened is now and this chapter is actually interesting because it's called the beginning of the Sankirtan movement. So how does the Sankirtan movement begin? Kirtan is when the bhava, or devotion in the heart, is expressed by the discipline of music. But it begins with the bhava. It begins with the devotion. So Krishna consciousness spreads from the devotion. You know, one time, maybe it was 40 years ago, it was the Kumbh Mela, and Prabhupada was at the Kumbh Mela, and some of the devotees went there, and I was in Vrindavan, and then Kirtanananda Swami came back from there, and we greeted him, and we asked him, what are you going to, how are you going to develop New Vrindavan? He said, well, just like Prabhupada. He sat down in Tompkins Square Park, began to chant the holy name of Krishna, But he wasn't just doing music. He was expressing his bhav. He was expressing his devotion. So the Sankirtan movement is describing how it begins. It begins with Lord Chaitanya's devotion, his love, and then the sharing of that love in Sankirtan intimately with others, because as Jiva Goswami says, higher than Kirtan is Sankirtan. because Sankirtan gives you special feelings of bliss. It intensifies the feelings when you share it with others. I explained this before, that shared bliss is higher than individual bliss. Because when you share it with others, what happens is you lose the limited sense of I in community. One thing about any type of theatrical presentation or even a good class, there's a relief there because a good speaker or a good entertainer can create one mind. So that everyone here, you have a sense, is experiencing the same thing. So it takes you away from your limited sense and opens your heart to greater feelings of bliss. So Lord Chaitanya then begins to do kirtan every night. And then what happens is, it just, the intensity, it's almost like, I don't know science so much, but, as an engineer here in the front, you can create some combustion by putting energy together and then it'll explode. So that's what the Sankirtan movement was. The devotees came together and their feelings were so intense doing Harinam and doing kirtan together that it just exploded. Externally, the way it exploded is the Brahmins had become corrupted, so they were just interested in, their own little donations and the things they do. They didn't want any disturbance. So they were living peacefully and materialistically under the Kanchazi. It's like a kind of a deal, do your little thing. Don't spread it so much. We'll let you do it. I know even in some Middle Eastern countries, they may know something's going on, but the government won't crack down on it if it doesn't become too big. It's not worth it politically to create that kind of, something like that. So good leaders will do that. They'll let little things go on. Hare Krishna movement. That's going to do anything like. But if it becomes serious, it becomes big, then people become concerned. So they were worried. So they reported to the Chandkazi, and the Muslim came and he broke the Vidanga. A lot of you, when you come with me, they actually have that Vidanga on the altar. This place is so ecstatic. It's an amazing place. I don't know if you know the evening. Kiba Jayo Jaya Gora Chander Arati Kesoba Jaya Vitata Badi Jaya So it's describing what happened there at Srivasangam, where Lord Chaitanya, he's in the mood of a devotee, and they're exchanging the kirtan and they're exchanging the love, and then at one time he decides to manifest as God. And he takes the shalagram, Srila puts it on his lap, and he sits on the altar and says, I am he, and he starts to give benedictions to everyone. This place is really amazing. They have the deities of this song there, and they have the broken Vidanga. Yeah, we love it when you come. So, the Chandkazi came and they broke the Vidanga, and then Lord Chaitanya led the first civil disobedience movement. He got all the Vaishnavas with torches to march by kirtan. To march by kirtan to the Chandkazi. And that's how the Sankirtan movement began. So externally it was the Chandkazi who made the disturbance, and Lord Chaitanya decided we've had enough. But internally it's like Radha and Krishna. When the love becomes so intense, it has to become Audarya. Otherwise the heart will close. If the compassion, if you're relishing something so deeply and sweetly, if there's not some feeling that I want to give it to others, the heart will close. So Audarya, magnanimity of Lord Chaitanya, is right there with the Madhurya. So the Sankirtan mission begins. Wow. Time is flying when you're having a good time. Either that or I'm still on Russian time. Tota, what time is it?
It's 12:49.
12:31.
12:49.
Really? Wow. The audience is so attentive. It's really wonderful, the Gaur Leela. Maybe on the Monday morning greetings now, not the Monday, the Sunday Sangha, then I'll do this Chaitanya Bhagavan. I remember, because in Vrindavan, I know it's my habit, but I had this thing, it's gone on for like 20, 25 years, is if someone asks me I'm giving a class, I'll say yes. And then I'll go outside my room at 4 o'clock. And wherever I was, people would come. And it can vary anywhere from 2 to 30 people. You can never tell. And you go through different books. And we'll just read a little bit more. So after performing the next morning, there was a tree with kunda flowers. Kunda flowers are these beautiful white little fragrant flowers. That's why Krishna is called Mukunda, because his face has his teeth like kunda flowers. He's also called Mukunda because seeing his face is the ananda that gives mukti. So he's called Mukunda. You see his face, you become liberated. So that's Mukunda. And the tree was like an incarnation of a kalpavriksha. It gives unlimited flowers. There's one tree in Vrindavan called Parijata. It has little white flowers with beautiful orange stems. And the way you collect the flowers is at night, you just put a cloth under the tree and it rains these flowers. It's like a kalpavriksha tree, unlimited flowers. So the Vaishnavas, they pick as many flowers as you want. And when you're doing deity worship and you have love, it's really, to get the good flowers. But the supply of flowers remain inexhaustible and undiminished. After rising in the morning, all the devotees would meet there. So you can meet there when you pick the flowers. I like when I'm in Govardhan, at my little place in Govardhan, then I go to the ISKCON place where they have gardens and you pick flowers and you kind of look as other people have already picked the flowers. But my assistant knew this one secret little thing. Roses grew you couldn't see. And then at Sriman Pandit arrived there, and they all said, it seems you're happy today. And he said there's a good reason. They always asked him to explain. And then he began to explain. The most wonderful and most impossible incident has occurred. Nimai Pandit, that was Lord Chaitanya's name. He was born under the neem tree. He became Nimai. He's a scholar. He's a Pandit. His name is Nimai Pandit. Has become the greatest Vaishnava. They were waiting for this. Because it's Vaitacharya and Haridas Thakur, they wanted to spread Krishna consciousness, but they saw in Bengal mostly people were Shaktas, which is basically materialists. They worship Lord Durga, and their religion was to become aristocratic, basically. And like when my father worked in Harlem, there was one guy that used to ask donations. He's called Reverend Sam the Money Man. You get money, you get blessings, right? This kind of, they call it prosperity gospel. It's a form of Christianity that's against Jesus and everything Jesus represented. worship God, and you become so prosperous, and you become so this, and you'll get more money, and throw away your crutches. Hearing, he was explaining, hearing that he happily returned from Gaia, I went to see and greet him yesterday. Everything he said revealed his utmost aversion to the world. He did not display any arrogance, even for a moment. In a secluded place, he began to speak about Krishna and the wonders that he had witnessed in various places. As soon as he mentioned the name of Padmatirtha, the area around him filled with his tears, because that's the place where Vishnu, he went, and he saw the footprints and where the feet of Vishnu was worshipped, and it was an Udipan, it was like an inspiration. He began to cry. As soon as he mentioned the name Padmatirtha, the area around him filled with his tears, his body began to tremble and all the hairs on his body stood on end, calling out, "Oh Krishna," he fell to the ground. Now he's describing this, Srimad Pandit. When he fell unconscious, there was no sign of life in his body. After a while, he regained his external consciousness with startled motion. Then finally began to shed tears as he called out the name of Krishna. It appeared as if the Ganga was flowing from his eyes. By the devotion that I've seen in him, I no longer consider him to be an ordinary being. On returning external consciousness, he said only, "Let us meet at Shuklambar's house tomorrow morning. I wish to reveal my distress to you, Sadashiva, and Murari Pandit. There is every reason to believe this most auspicious news that I have given you." On hearing this news from Srimad Pandit, the devotees triumphantly began to chant the name of Hari. The magnanimous Sadashiva was first to speak. "May Krishna increase our family. May our family increase." All the devotees happily discussed topics of Krishna. A most auspicious and enchanting sound vibration arose. All the devotees repeatedly exclaimed, "May it be so. Let everyone worship the lotus feet of Krishna Chandra." So that's the section for today. Now that we have that mood, we're all going to chant for 20 minutes. We're going to chant some japa, okay? But this is the way we're going to do it. I'm going to, and it can be with beads if you want. It doesn't have to be with beads, but if you want, you get your beads. But the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to guide you in different meditations, because you can focus on an object in one of two ways. One is from the intelligence, your understanding, and one is from the heart, your feelings. So I found in my own japa, if you can insight or your intelligence or your feelings, you can remain focused. So what I'll do is I will instruct you how we're going to chant, then I'll demonstrate it, then we'll chant it together in that way, then I'll ask you to chant at your own pace. And then at a particular time, I'll say, now just chant quietly, and I'll give you the next meditation. And you'll see there's different ways in which you can activate your attention. But my idea with Rasa Japa is, now that we've had some Harikatha, we heard the stories of the name of the person we're chanting, then there'll be more connection and it'll be deeper. So, and just in terms of meditation, perception is dependent on attention, and attention is dependent on the mind. You can bring your mind and focus it on anything. If I say your right toe, now you'll experience your right toe because you brought your mind there. So it's not that you weren't technically feeling it, but unless you put your mind there, you're not aware of it. So we try to put our mind between the Agya Chakra and we try to focus on the holy name. So I'm just going to do a few different ways to do that. One technique is called pranayama japa. People just leaving because they don't want to share it. Anybody else going to leave? Okay. Okay, ready? So you should be sukha and sthira. That means your body should be happy and relaxed. And because in Ashtanga Yoga, first is yam and niyam. Yam means how you behave in relationship to others. Niyam, how you behave in relationship to yourself. So we're assuming we have a certain level of behavior. So we'll go to asana and hopefully we're fairly relaxed. Main thing is the back is straight. And then we'll do pranayama. We can do pranayama chanting. So what we'll do is 2.5 mantras out, a half mantra in. You can chant like this. So it's like this. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Okay, so now please just do it at my pace, okay, and we'll do it together. And remember, the main thing is to remember how dynamic this moment is that God is there in the form of His holy name. So we keep cognizant of that this is a very important dynamic moment. And we try to focus our consciousness in the Agya Chakra where we can concentrate, and other thoughts may come, but we don't follow them. So you'll do it at my pace, and then I'll have you do it at your own. Okay, take a deep breath. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Now do it to yourself, chant by yourself. And while you're doing it, keep on chanting. We're going to do yoga chanting, which means we'll perfect the mantra. And perfecting the mantra means you chant here every syllable. But if you can chant here every syllable perfectly, you'll get the fruit of the mantra. So concentrate on hearing and chanting every syllable. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Perfect yogis, other thoughts may come. We don't follow. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hear every syllable.
Hare Krishna.
One mantra at a time. Will perfect your chanting.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna,
And now you can chant softly to yourself. In this particular meditation, the next meditation we're going to do, just keep on chanting kind of silently yourself. As I explained, the mantra is non-different than Krishna. There's vachika, which means the expression of something, and there's vacha, which is the object. So when you chant mantra, there's no difference than the object and the expression of it. So when you're chanting the names of Krishna, that is Krishna. So in this particular meditation, we vibrate the mantra, and we meditate on our communion with God by feeling God, by feeling that vibration. We try to feel that vibration in every pore of our body. So we'll chant like this. I'll just chant, and then I'll tell you we'll do it together. First I'll demonstrate. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, together.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
You can do it at your own pace now.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Vibrate the mantra. Meditate what you feel. Hare Krishna, meditate what you feel for the mantra. Have direct communion with Krishna. Meditate the mantra. Meditate what you feel. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Other thoughts may come, you don't follow those thoughts. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. One mantra at a time. Perfect your mantra. And you Just feel the mantra.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Vibrate the energy what you feel. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, So chant to yourself quietly on the next meditation. Quietly. Just keep on chanting, but quietly. The mantra is also prayer. The japas artha bhavanam. Yoga Sutras, it says we should dwell on the meaning of the mantra. So the mantra is, O Radha, O Krishna, please engage me in your service. Prabhupada said we should listen to the sincerity of our chanting. He said, chanting is not just lip deep, it's heart deep. So we listen to the sincerity of our chanting. We should hear our voice or our heart in the mantra, and we should be dwelling on the meaning and chant in sincerity. So I'll chant, and then you'll follow. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Together.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Listen to the sincerity of your chanting.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hear your heart.
Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama
Okay, chant
Rama,
quietly to
Hare Hare.
yourself. Softly. perfect the mantra, chant and hear every syllable, one mantra at a time. You perfect the mantra, you get the fruit of the mantra, which is devotion. Feel the mantra, meditate on what you feel for the mantra. Listen to the sincerity of your chanting. Dwell on the meaning of the mantra and go deeper and deeper. The mantra is also Shakti, Nam Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shakti. It's energy. It's the energy of God's God, but it's also God's energy. And energy comes from a source to please its source. One great sadhu in Vrindavan, he told my friend that when we chant, Krishna is hearing our chanting. And therefore we should chant as sweet as possible for Krishna's pleasure. You can even meditate that Krishna is sitting there in Vrindavan and you're chanting for Krishna. And he's hearing your chanting and getting pleasure. So I'll chant mantra twice, then we'll chant together, and then you can chant at your own pace. So Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Together, very sweetly.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
At your own pace.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare,
Very sweetly. Like every syllable is like a flower petal. I'm offering to Krishna. You can meditate that Krishna is hearing your mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Krishna is hearing your chanting. Chant as sweet as possible. Krishna's pleasure. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Every syllable very sweetly.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama.
Meditate Krishna's hearing.
Hare Krishna, Krishna.
Okay, so I want you to chant to yourselves now. Chant and hear every syllable. Perfect your mantra. Feel the mantra. Dwell on the meaning of the mantra. Listen to the sincerity of your chanting and go deeper. Chant very sweetly and meditate that Krishna is hearing each syllable. Prabhupada said that we should chant the mantra like a child crying for his mother. Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj said we should open up a crying school. So, look at the voice of devotion in our heart and find it. The voice in your heart, as you're chanting, hear it as the mantra. The voice that says, I want Krishna. amplify that voice in your mind, just like a child. I want, I want, I want. And make it louder and louder and louder. In separation, I want Krishna, I want Krishna. And then you bring it to the point of God. So I'll chant one mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, now at your own pace. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, very, very sweetly every syllable as a flower petal, actually. Offer it to Krishna, meditate to Krishna, hear the mantra, and then cry to Krishna. And the holy name becomes like a great ocean, and you're swimming in that ocean. You can chant and hear every syllable, and cry to Krishna, and chant very sweetly, and feel the mantra, listen to the meaning of the mantra. Now for 2 minutes at your own pace, just chant, and swim in that ocean, and meditate on Krishna in every way. Focuses your mind the most. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Now keep on chanting. The first budding symptom of the soul is our gratitude. So the holy name, God has appeared in the form of His holy name, and you're hearing that holy name. And I want you to hear the mantra. I want you to hear the mantra as saying thank you, and feel that gratitude. And feel that gratitude. Thank you, thank you. God has appeared personally in the form of the holy name. And now, feel that gratitude, thank you, into a desire to serve, wanting to give yourself in devotion. And feel that as an energy that comes up from your heart, through your shoulders, down your arms, to your hands, and it brings your hands clasped before your chest in a prayerful mood. This is a mudra. Mudra means you put your hands where you want your consciousness to go. This consciousness is that these hands that have been used selfishly are now for service. And hear the mantra. Put your consciousness there and hear your mantra as a call for service. Chant here every syllable. And now we're going to be perfect yogis. Perfect yogis means you meditate on the object without distraction. So I want you to meditate for 2 minutes. And this is the real you. Yoga means to live in the real self. This real self is gratitude and service. And you can distinguish it so much from the mind, which is anxieties and ambitions and desires simply based on the ego. So for 2 minutes, let's be perfect yogis. Only the name, other thoughts may come. Okay? Hare Krishna, to yourself chant. Perfect yogis. For 2 minutes. One more minute with determination. Perfect yogis. Put the consciousness in the spirit of giving and hear the mantra as giving yourself.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna.
We'll do it one more minute.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Other thoughts may come. Completely relax.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Your shoulders are completely relaxed.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
One more minute, perfect yogis.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Take
Krishna
30 more seconds.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Yeah, don't open your eyes yet. When I ask you to open your eyes,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram.
be conscious to keep in the same consciousness. Because what happens by meditation or yoga, your mind morphs to a higher level of perception and contentment. And don't jump back yet into the false ego, the materialistic mind. You'll stay in that consciousness, and then we'll end with some kirtan in that mood. Premanava, if you can get the drum, you get the drum, so you get me cartels, but just stay in that consciousness. Okay. Gradually open your eyes, but stay in the same consciousness. Okay, open your eyes. Stay in that same consciousness, and we'll do just a little kirtan. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Even though I'm such a great singer, I like sometimes to get Very good, Mother. Thank you. So happy that you're able to come.
Yeah, me too.
Great.
Sorry I was late.
Wow. Okay, so now wash up, take a little break, and time for prasadam. We like to have, we did kirtan for about a half hour. That was nice. Good.